Hey, welcome to the series of everything you need to know about Python in simplest possible way. In the series of pattern printing, so far we have seen so many patterns. In this video, we will see how we can actually print this particular pattern. So let us go ahead and see. So if we could carefully observe this pattern, we have ones coming in this diagonal and going in this diagonal and which are having in a shape like a cap shape, right? So after that, we have increased these values. Now this 2 is also having this shape, and later with this 3 is also having that shape, later 4, and at last we were ended up with this highest value in this case, which is 5. So let us go ahead and see how we can actually print this particular pattern. So in order to print this particular pattern, we have 5 rows. So for that reason, I will take a variable rows and I will assign with 5. Later, as we can observe in this pattern, we have spaces, right? So before this particular pattern, we have these spaces. First, we need to print these spaces so that only we can able to get the exact pattern. So in order to keep track of these spaces, I will take a variable spaces, and we need to assign the value for these spaces with how many number of spaces that we are having in this first row. So if you could carefully see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Totally, we have 8 spaces, but we cannot directly put 8. So, if we put directly 8, it will work only for this pattern. So, if we change the value of rows, this pattern will be changed and the value 8 does not actually support that particular pattern. So, for that, we need to derive a logic, and the logic could be 2 into how many number of rows we are having minus 2, that will gives the value 8, right? So for that reason only I am mentioning 2 into rows, which is 10, 10 minus 2, which is 8. So by using that, we can able to get the exact spaces. So that can be differed with the number that is changed with this particular rows, so that the spaces will be changed accordingly. So let us go ahead and see how we can print now. So as we can see, we have 5 rows. So to generate those many number of rows, I will use a for loop for I in range. So now we need to generate the range of values. So by that range of values, we need to derive all these values which are here. So if you could able to observe this pattern clearly, we have this middle values which are having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if we could able to generate these middle values, so that we can use these middle values for both this particular left side pattern and for both and this particular right side pattern. So now we will be generating this particular middle values 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So for that reason, I will start with 1 and go till the value of rows plus 1, because in the value of rows we have 5, right? So that is what we need to get. So for that reason, I am mentioning rows plus 1. So by the functionality of this range, we will be stopped at the value 5. So after this, in order to know what values we have got in I will simply print the value I here. So we can see the values that what we have expected exactly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now we have got the middle values which are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now what we will be doing is that, as we can observe in this pattern, we have symmetrical shape, right? So in the left side pattern, we have exactly similar to the right side pattern. So now we will divide these two patterns. First we will print this particular left side pattern. So later we will print this particular right side pattern. So in order to print this particular left side pattern, what we can what we can observe from this I values and this particular left side pattern is that in every single row we are starting with value 1 and going till the value I. The first row we are having only 1, we are starting with 1 and going till 1. So in the second row you can observe clearly we are starting with 1 and going till the value of 2, which is the value of I here. The third row, we are starting with 1 going till the value of I, which is 3 in this case. So you can observe here, right? So in the fourth row, we can see the value I is 4 and we are starting with 1 going till the value 4. The last row, we can observe the value of I, we have 5 and it is starting with 1 going till the value of 5, which is the value I here. So we need to generate that particular logic. As we can observe, these are repeating in every single row, right? Starting with 1 going till the value of I. So when we have this kind of a repeated statement, we use loops, right? So that is what we will be doing now. Inside of this for loop, I will use another loop which is for j in range. So now, as we have discussed, we need to generate the range of values, and the range of values would be starting with 1 and going till the value of I. So for that reason, I am mentioning I plus 1. So by the functionality of range, we will be stopped at the value I. So inside this, what I will be doing is that instead of printing this particular I will print the value j here. So now if I execute this, we can able to see the result 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these are the exact values that we can observe from this left side pattern coming from here till this particular point here. So now what we need to do is that as we have got the values, we just only need to arrange those values so that we can able to get the whole pattern. So in order to arrange them, what I will be doing is that I will mention an end space here. So by default, this print function having this end parameter with the new line character. For that reason, we are getting everything in a new line. By mentioning this single space, we will get everything in a single line. So now what I will be doing is that we can observe in this left side pattern as and when the value of j is reaches to the value of I, we are getting new line, right? So after reaching to value 2, we are getting new line starting with 1, 2, 3. After reaching to 3, we are getting new line 1, 2, 3, 4. So like that, we need to generate a new line after once the j value reaches to the value I. So for that reason, what I will be doing is that after completion of this inner for loop, I will use a print to generate a new line. As we have discussed, this end parameter having a new line character that will give a new line. So now if I execute this, we can able to see this kind of a pattern. So now we need to arrange this a little bit so that we can able to get the exact left side pattern. So as we have discussed previously, we have these spaces before, right? So we need to print those spaces before numbers. So as and when I enter into this outer for loop, I will use a print in order to print those spaces. So now I am mentioning space and I am multiplying with spaces variable, which is what we are using to keep track of these spaces. And at the end, I will mention this end as nothing because by default end is having new line character. We don't want any new line character and anything else. So for that reason, I am mentioning end as nothing. So after that, you can observe in every single new row, the spaces are decreased, right? So the spaces are keeps reducing. So we need to do that modification to our spaces variable. So for that reason, I am mentioning spaces minus equal to 2. So in every single new row, the spaces are reduced by 2. So that is what I am doing here. So now if I execute this, we can able to see the exact left side pattern that is here. So now I hope you can understand this logic so far. If that is true, hit the like button and subscribe for more videos. Now let us go ahead and see how we can generate this particular right side pattern as well. So in order to generate this right side pattern, we will be following the similar procedure what we have followed to generate left side pattern. So as you can observe, this middle values can be used for both right side also, right? So that is what we will be doing now. Here in every single, we will keep this middle value aside and we will be starting with this particular values here, right? So that is what we will be using now. So if you could carefully observe this particular pattern which is on the right side, this row in this column to this particular one single value here, in every single value here, starting with value I minus 1 and going till the value 1. So this is I and going till the value 1. In this is which is 2, which is the value I and going till the value 1. So this from this we will be considering this is value I minus 1, this is value I, which is 3, 3 minus 1, which is 2, and going till the value 1. So these are repeating in every single row. So that is what we will be doing to generate a loop to keep track of this. So these are repeating as like I minus 1 to the value 1. So that is what we will be doing by using a for loop. So for that reason, I will use a for loop for k in range. Now we will be generating those range of values as we have discussed, starting with I minus 1 and going till the value 1. So that is the reason I will be mentioning 0. On each iteration, we need to reduce those values For that reason, I am mentioning -1 here. So in this, to know what values we have got, I will just print the value k here. So we can see the values which are 1, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1 and 4, 3, 2, 1. You can compare these values with this particular right side pattern. We have got the exact values here. So now the only thing we need to do is that we need to arrange these values so that we can able to get this whole pattern. So in order to arrange those values, what I will be doing is that I will mention an end with a single space. After that, what I will be doing is that by using this end, we can able to get everything in a single line. So after that, as and when this k value reaches to the value 1 here, we need to generate a new line. So for that reason, I will print this by nothing. So by default, this end parameter having new line. So that will give us a new line. So now if I execute this, don't worry, we don't get the pattern, but we will fix. So now you can observe this. So the problem here is that we are generating the new line characters in here and as well as here. And if you could observe this particular pattern, as and when we reach to this particular uh, value which is I, we are generating new line here. So that is what we want. That is not what we wanted, because we need to add this particular values after this particular pattern, after this particular for loop. For that reason, I will be removing this particular print which gives new line. So now if I execute this, we can able to get the exact pattern. That is what we are expecting. So now I hope you can able to understand this logic to generate this particular pattern. So I will quickly explain one more time briefly. So we have got 5 rows. So for that reason, I am taking 5 rows. So we have observed we have spaces in this particular pattern. For that reason, we are using these spaces to keep track spaces. After that, by using this for loop, we are generating these middle values. So by using this base middle values, we are generating left side and right side patterns. So by using this for loop, we are generating the values of patterns for one till this particular middle value. So after that, from this point onwards, we are generating the values by using this for. So now I hope you can understand this clearly. So if you found any difficulty still understanding this logic, I sincerely suggest you to watch the video once again carefully so that you can understand it clearly. So now what we will be doing is that we will be dynamically take input from the user. So for that reason, I am mentioning int input. So we need to take input from the user. So for that reason, I am asking user to enter rows here. So if I execute this, it is asking to enter rows. Let's say I will give the value 3 here. So we can see the values are starting with 1 in this shape, their cap shape, and going and ending at the value 3 here. So now if I give, let's say, one more number which is 9 here, so still we can able to see the highest number which is here, and these values are keeps reducing. This becomes 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Like that, we are getting every single value here and the exact pattern. So now I hope you can able to understand this logic to generate this particular this kind of a pattern by any number given by the user. So if that is true, if you found this video interesting, hit the like button. In the next video, we will see how we can actually print this particular pattern. This is the reverse side of this particular pattern. So we will see that in the next video. So to stay updated with my latest videos, subscribe to my channel and turn on the notifications to all so that whenever I upload any video, you will get the notification. So thank you for watching this video. See you in the next one.